Welcome back, I'm John Furrier with theCUBE. We are here at theCUBE's NYSE studio, our brand new studio here in Wall Street, of course. We have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street. We love the tech market. Technology is the market. This is our special NRF series where we're looking at the future of retail and the innovation that's coming out of where AI is infusing in. It's impacting all aspects of the physical and digital, real world aspect of retail, office operations, staffing, user experience, shopping experience, discovery, personalization, all those things are coming together. They have the data. Now AI is coming in. It's the perfect storm of innovation. Dirk is here. Dirk Hoerig is the founder and chief innovation officer at Commercetools. Dirk, great to have you on. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me here.
The NRF, I know you've been to how many? 15, 20 of them?
I stopped counting, but it's somewhere within that range, yes.
So what was it like this year? Because you and I were talking before we came on camera about how we're excited on theCUBE because it's got AI everywhere, which we love. There's a little AI factory kind of future in there. Just, it's transformative in its experiences. What was your takeaway this year compared to the patterns? Like, oh yeah, innovation's happening inch by inch, moving along, sometimes it moves a little bit farther. It seems to be a big step function mindset and sentiment this year.
I think we see a whole change going through our industry, and it's much more than just a pivoting moment. The NRF this year had been probably the busiest that I have ever seen in my life. Also probably the most exciting one. Literally everybody came to figure out what does this agentic commerce mean for me and my business? What do I have to do? Where's the commerce market overall going? And they had been seeking for answers, for exchange, for technologies and solutions. Definitely an amazing event.
I want to ask you questions, given your history and expert in retail from a tech perspective. It seems that in retail there's always been these hard problems everyone's been trying to solve. Retention, shopping experience, more throughput. Clearly they've been great at data. I mean, they measure everything. So they give them a good A+ on getting data, having analytics. They got the data, but what have been the hardest problems that you see breaking through with AI, the idea of agents? I mean, physical AI applies to retail, their physical outlets, and they seem to be doing well too, as digital and physical merge together. What are some of those hard problems that are now being cracked with the supercomputing capability and some of the AI coming on?
Yeah. Many of the challenges that brands and retailers today are still having is that a lot of the data that you're talking about is captured in silos. There had been a system for each different kind of channel. Often these systems are not connected directly in real time, and that, when you translate that to the agentic era now, is making it much harder for AI to actually transact and operate with that data on top of it. So what became more important for companies is to make their infrastructure future-proof on how can we actually make that accessible, both for the humans. There we talked about unified commerce in the past couple of years a lot at Commercetools. So how can we enable any touch point for online shopping, but with having one underlying platform that empowers all of these instead of working from silo to silo. And now this is even more important when we're entering the age of AI shopping, because they need to be able to access product inventory in real time, customer information, being able to place cards, create orders, and that only works if you're able to provide this unified kind of layer.
We had great coverage from your Commercetools event in Miami last year. Even since then, the value and the velocity are changing. More velocity, the value propositions are emerging. What's the current update on Commercetools? How are you guys evolving? What's the current state of Commercetools?
Yeah. 2025 had been a crazy run for us. A little bit with the backwind of agentic commerce that made brands and retailers to move faster actually than they had been before. We achieved some incredible milestones. On the business side, the company crossed over 200 million on ARR, and operationally we started to process over 80 billion of GMV. So we became one of the largest commerce infrastructure players globally out there, processing over 500 million orders and helping our customers actually to get discoverability and transaction within the AI channels, because that was, when we spoke last time in May in Miami on our Elevate event, all of the AI chat channels, so ChatGPT, Gemini and Co, had not yet fully opened up to agentic shopping. And that had been the topic now beginning of this year at NRF, that with Google's agentic shopping solution, ChatGPT, launched end of last year. Our customers asked us, hey, how can you help us on ensuring that we are discoverable in there when our customers are searching for products that we are offering, and how can we also enable transactions?
Yeah, Google, you mentioned Google and Google Cloud. What we're seeing, Google actually has a e-commerce with all their advertising data analytics. As cloud comes in, you're starting to see a lot more horsepower coming in with supercomputing.
Yep.
You and I were riffing about the hyper-converged edge and what that's going to do when AI factories come there. How do you see some of the new things coming? What do you see as the current conversations that are super important? Obviously agents, shopping experience is obviously key. What's coming? What do you see what's the next big area of commerce, AI intersection? Because it's everything. It's the money and the capital coming together with the tech.
Yep.
So you get business results with productivity, but what else is out there? What's the big thing coming next from your vision?
So I see two big trends. Well, I think they're not even trends, they are changing the complete market. Literally like the internet has changed the game of retail, then later on we saw the rise of smartphones completely changing the customer journey. Now in the age of AI, this might even be bigger. On the first end, what we already covered slightly is the overall shopping journey. So how are we as consumers or as business buyers now starting to discover products? Where do we find them? Who's making the recommendation? And where do we transact? And this is amazing for us as a buyer because it provides much more convenience. It lets us transact much faster. We can skip the whole process of information gathering and much more, but it puts the businesses towards huge challenges. So first, how do I technically enable these? But even more important, and this is the boardroom conversation that we're having literally with all of our large customers, is how do we stay relevant in a world where it's not only the human anymore is the only buyer, but also AI agents are operating on the other side towards. So how do we stay relevant in there? Who's owning the customer journey? Who owns the customer records? How do we process these orders? All these kind of things. So this is going to evolve, and I think this will dictate the pace, especially in the B2C world over the next 2 years, dramatically. The other part, and this is where it gets interesting, is I think the even bigger shift is on how do we operate our businesses? Because the last 25 years, software companies, now software as a service companies, had been great at providing tools that allows us to manually manage our business. We are used to work in spreadsheets, consume a lot of information. The UIs had been designed all for us humans to fulfill simple business tasks. Now we're seeing a change here where we can put businesses into a kind of an autopilot. And my example here, John, is that if you would think about a traditional car out there, you could either now add a smart assistant to that and say that, I don't know, like a lane assist, that definitely gives you some great capabilities on it, but it's still the same car, just is a little bit smarter. Or you think about a completely autonomous car, you think about the Waymo. And we believe that this Waymo kind of thing, that's what we are working on at Commercetools, is completely changing how enterprises operate. Instead of working on the task, the platform automatically suggests what should be done and can also execute on behalf of all. Can you give an example of an autonomous retail operation?
Super simple.
Imagine Black Friday, it's mid of the day, business is going great, you already transacted about 10 million orders, your campaigns are working, you're checking in with your agent, and automatically comes to you and says, okay, I analyzed our ongoing promotions, and based on the purchasing behavior of our customers in the last 3 hours, these are the adjustments that I suggest, these are the improvements that we're going to get, do you want me to execute it? And then we humans stay still in control, we are still supervising all of these, but all of the data analysis, all of the decision preparation has already been done.
So you have a pricing analyst on call, basically. Hey, we might want to take that promotion from 10% to 5%, or maybe get rid of it. because they're going to buy anyway.
No.
The demand is there.
No.
So that's an example.
It's one example, but now we just talk about one use case, and that is one agent in there. Now think about an army of super smart minions where each of them has a specific task, right? So it can be promotion optimization, it can be pricing optimization, it can be inventory analysis, it can be product data translation, it can be product data optimization, it can be personalization, it can be front-end generation, and so on. And then these are getting all automatically orchestrated and then help us humans to interact with that. So the big questions that companies need to ask themselves in the next couple of years, and that's not limited to the commerce spaces, how do agents and humans in the future are going to work together? And that goes beyond just the next generation of Clippy on the right bottom corner. That's a little bit of a chat. That looks much different, as I just tried to offer.
Chatbots are chatbots, but when you get into reasoning and inference, Google Gemini, we were talking yesterday with some of the folks from Google around how that's changed just the application of some of these basic services. That has nothing to do with I'm walking in and autonomous realizes, oh, John's buying skis. Okay. John, you might not want to get those all mountains. You're not as good as you used to be, which is what I learned when I interacted with the AI, because it's like, okay, I can still ski expert trails, but like I don't have the staying power, so maybe I get a little bit, I don't get the fatter skis, maybe I go a little bit easier turns. And you know what? I said, I gave the prompts. Okay? Yeah, it's like, thank you. But that is good interface. But I'm still typing, could be voice.
It could be voice.
Could be an agent finding the best skis, best price.
And what is important, and that's what we are working on, we are creating a new workbench where agents and humans work together, where it's going beyond just the typical kind of chat, where it's going beyond the typical kind of voice, where it's a true platform where agents can collaborate and where humans can collaborate in a very efficient way.
Well, you guys have a great business. You always had a great solution, because it was always platform specific. How do you view the platform strategy now when you have actually more platform capabilities? You have more aperture for coding, because now low code, no code lets a business user essentially code up an agent by just saying the function, writes a PRD, does the coding, gets the app. So how do you view the platform from an enablement standpoint? Where's the handoff between platform foundational services to true agility? With guardrails, so someone doesn't screw up the pricing decision. Oops, I forgot to add in compliance. Take me through your thoughts on the platform of Commercetools and just platforms in general, because AI native needs a new layer.
Absolutely, and therefore we are lucky that we have probably the most scalable and largest commercial infrastructure layer in the whole e-commerce space out there. As I already mentioned, we are serving over 1 billion consumers. We are managing over 150 million products on behalf of our customers in there, and that all in a fully scalable infrastructure layer that's available globally within milliseconds. And it's available for the human channels, so a web shop can directly run on that, your car can be directly connected with that, your store is directly connected with that, and now the AI agents in different kind of ways, either through, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini, or your own agent that you're having in your pocket, can be directly connected with that system as well. What is truly important if you want to provide full autonomous layers for AI is you need to have that infrastructure and the data layer right. Without that, you're just having an AI chat agent that's not able to do anything. And so therefore, what we have built over the last 15 years is now providing or helping us to help change that whole category that we are in again, right? So you might remember what we initially called headless commerce, with the idea to provide all channels for shopping, and then we pioneered and had been driving that space. It evolved to a composable, giving brands and manufacturers more flexibility, now becomes the economic infrastructure for agentic shopping.
Yeah, so headless kind of implies e-commerce. Hey, you can put the UI on, I'm oversimplifying, but what does headless mean now when you translate that to agentic, where you have a lot more horizontal things going on, data? Is it the same game, just different execution? How do you view that piece of it.
I see us as a commerce operating system that actually has all of the data, all of the customer information, all of the knowledge around what is being available for sale and what can be purchased, customer records, customer histories, and being able to provide that, giving secure access to the agents to be able to transact on top of that.
Awesome. And you guys are going to have your event this year, a little bit different, probably US and
We're
Europe.
making it easier for our customers so that they don't need to take the long travel anymore. So we're splitting it. We will have an event in the US and we're going to have an event in Europe.
Yeah, I've always loved platforms. I think platforms are always fun because it's a system. And I love the operating system angle. I use that all the time, but we're living in a world where Commercetools was, you could say SaaS platform with an app and a headless system enablement. Now you're looking like your AWS or Google Cloud because now you have the scale. Talk about how you see the infrastructure piece of your business. Are you partnering? You're becoming your own retail hyperscaler, basically.
No.
And that's the way, that's my word. Maybe it's not the right accurate word, but you're at scale.
No. Luckily, we partnered from the beginning on with the hyperscalers, so we're closely working with GCP and also with AWS to provide our customers unpaired scalability and flexibility globally. And that is actually now also the underlying infrastructure for all of these shopping channels. So it's true that we are kind of a commerce hyperscaler on our own, but luckily we don't have to build all of these data centers. We can rely on strong partnerships.
It's funny, a SaaS company like a Snowflake becomes a data platform, Commercetools, a retail app system becomes its own platform. That's the beautiful SaaS. Now with AI, we just see that going completely even higher in capabilities. How do you view as a partner, because I won't say ecosystem because it's one big ecosystem. You're with the hyperscalers, you also have customers, you got two sides of that partnerships. You got hooks into the security of the clouds, you got the compliance, you have customers who want to integrate in. What's the role of integrations and how has it changed?
First of all, integrations is key, and you need to make them as seamless and easy as possible for our customers to benefit from them, because enterprise brands and retailers, they are connected to so many different kind of systems that you need to provide that out of the box. What has changed is that back 10 years ago, customers had to pay a lot of money to get these integrations done, and AI is skipping here the game. It's making many of these integrations either becoming obsolete. Companies can easily prompt their kind of integrations. We provided our AI hub already last year to have them deploying integrations very fast using AI tooling around it. They can use their AI code generator in combination, but integrations is a key piece of success.
I think that's been one of the great signs of the first wave of the agents or the first value coming out, besides unique workflows, has been the grinding out the integrations. So talk about the data side, because I've always been fascinated by these verticals like retail, like healthcare. They've been data hoarders. They love data. In retail, dashboards, they have dashboards for everything. In healthcare, it's a little bit more structured data for the compliance side of it, but they still tagged everything, so they still got great data. So they're kind of in good positions to really blow up their retail operations in a good way. How do you see the customer's behavior around their data estates, their data gravity? They're already working with dashboards, so they're not new to analytics. So they must be really taken to the AI and agentic like a fish to water.
Absolutely, though everybody is now reviewing, do we have the right set of data? Because now data is becoming much more than storage. It becomes a kind of a knowledge layer, and when you look on the change the sides to the agents, then also they become a kind of a memory, and therefore it's very important to
So the context is critical.
The context is critical, and therefore brands, retailers, across all different kind of industries, you mentioned the medical space as well, they're very carefully reviewing, do we have the right sets of data, where do we need to adopt changes, because that's more critical than ever.
Dirk, final question, what are you optimizing for now? What's your focus? What are some of your goals?
We optimize for our customers, being able to capture AI chat from wherever they are in the world. We actually opened even up that if you're not Commercetools customer and you're running on a legacy system that maybe does not give you the capabilities to capture all of these opportunities, we launched a product recently called Agentic Lift that gives you a fast track access also to the agentic shopping channels, and then in parallel really driving the shift from, I would say, AI experimentation that we have seen many companies doing in the year 2025 to AI execution. So how can it bring real value to our system and help drive better outcomes?
So we'll follow up to that, I'd ask, it's not so much a strategy risk as it is execution risk. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
What are some of the key things people should do to make sure they're honing in on managing that execution risk as they bring in their agent era of retail?
Yeah. Smaller teams, that's one thing. Companies all over the world shifted towards larger teams, and that had been slowing down. So go for smaller teams, adapt quicker, take decisions faster. I think what we are all seeing is that the pace of change just keeps accelerating. And I think we keep saying this for a couple of years, but when we look what's just happening in the world, I think it's more true than ever. And you need to figure out how as a company can you adapt. And the only way that you can do that is have small teams, give them autonomy, and then define clear goals. What is it actually that the business wants to achieve?
Do you think the retail executives and people who are the owners and shareholders understand that it's AI adapt or die?
I think they understand, and that's what we have seen at NRF, why so many had been coming. The big question is, are they able to execute? Because as you said, execution is now what matters, and time, so sense of urgency, is speeding everything.
So I have to ask you as a founder, founders, sometimes when the founders stay around, they shepherd the ship, they always kind of, when these have these key founder moments, founder mode, some people call it. What's been the big difference in your mind as a founder of seeing the success of Commercetools? Now you're on an exciting market where all theaters of innovation are popping. Business side, technical side, people side, everything's happening. It's like everything's kind of like going off at once. Do you see the AI native side different than cloud native? How do you see the world and opportunity? Because you got a whole nother level.
Yeah, I believe that when the world is changing quickly and when there are so monumental shifts, that there's always huge opportunity. Yes, there's risk involved everywhere when there's huge opportunities around it, but the market is changing like it has never changed before. And that always means it's opening up opportunities for everybody, and especially in commerce, right? So for all brands, retailers, manufacturers, but also for the vendors in there that are operating in that space. This is all going to change. And now the cards are being mixed again, and that's an opportunity for everybody to build outstanding companies on whatever side they are.
And so your new North Star as a founder is autonomous retail. Is that right?
Autonomous retail is the North Star, yes.
All right. Dirk, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Appreciate it so much coming on. Love talking retail with the founder who's built a successful company as a platform, but as the platforms change, you're starting to see new huge opportunities with AI. It is an AI native world. That is going to be a step function change of value creation, value extraction, user experience, and it's going to change how we interact. The real world and digital are coming together first party. That is what's happening in all the sectors with AI. We're doing our part to keep it coming to you for theCUBE. I'm John Furrier, your host. Thanks for watching.